You've heard it from both sides, this anger and violent rhetoric and how it leads to outright violence itself. So both sides saying it's the other side doing it, but does that language, the whole coarseness of it have to change to bolster Lee Carter? We got radio show host Ben Kissel as well. Lee, what about that? I mean, it is very vitriolic. It's not the first time in our history it has been like this, but it's not every day that gunmen go after U.S. congressmen either.
No, I think at times like this, I really hate playing the blame game. But, you know, that's what's been happening all along. People blame Donald Trump for the rise in anti-Semitism. People are now blaming the left for all of the comments they made. And if you look at so many of the celebrities, Madonna, Snoop Dogg, Kathy Griffin, I think there's more than 10 celebrities who have made comments about wanting to harm the President of the United States or other officials. Even Stephen Colbert had one of the staffers' head on a stick. And while you cannot say that this man was inspired by this rhetoric, it certainly fuels hate, it fuels anger, it fuels this inability to have a conversation, to have a dialogue, and people are taking sides, and it's like nothing we've ever seen before. So my earnest hope right now is that Nancy Pelosi was being honest when she said that it's time for us to move forward, where she really said her support, where she said, let's come together. I think that the dinner last night between the Democrats and Republicans is also a good first step. And let's just hope that we can all learn right now that no one's evil here. We're all trying to do the best we can for our country, and we might disagree respectfully.
What do you think about that?
Well, I don't want to scapegoat the arts. I think the person to blame for this attack is James Hodgkinson. He is the one who perpetrated these attacks. It's not a gun issue. It's not an issue of arts. It's
so in
about
any environment, he still would have done this. Right.
Well, I think the hyper-partisanship that we're seeing in Washington is a result of the gerrymandering and redistricting that's been going on in this country for so long, where these politicians go to Washington with no incentive to compromise because their core constituents at home don't want them to, because they don't, and there is no need for these politicians to compromise because it's not beneficial towards their political careers. We also have a situation in this country where politics have almost become a religion for people. People choose what cars they drive, what food they eat, what restaurants to go to, what kind of clothes to wear based on politics. So when you disagree with someone's political ideology, you're not just disagreeing with their ideology, you're disagreeing with their God.
But you know what's interesting, Lee? It wasn't that long ago, and I'll mention two different presidents, fair and balanced here, Ronald Reagan and John Kennedy, that were very adept at reaching across the aisle. And that would be seen, I think, in this environment as a weakness. And I'm wondering, regardless of what were the motivations of this guy who took it upon himself to try to kill as many people as he could have, but what's going on here? How do you dial that back and say it's okay to talk to the other side, it's okay to go beyond just playing a baseball game together, but to doing business together?
Look, I think that we have to really take a close look at ourselves and learn to respect each other across the aisle.
Neither side does. It's their way or the highway, on the right and the left.
And I think that there's a reason why Donald Trump became the president of the United States over other establishment candidates. He was going to be seen as somebody who was going to come in and do things differently. I think people are tired of gridlock. I think most Americans right now are tired of the resist, of the we're not going to do anything, we're just going to stop, blockade. And I think that's got to stop.
But woe to that politician who decides to reach across the aisle.
And I have to say thank you, Lee, for saying the word gridlock, because it makes me think of General Stockdale, and then I immediately smile. But what happens now is people are no longer communicating. As you said, they're communicating via social media, which is not an actual human interaction. If you ask people, did you have a political conversation this week? They'll say, yes, I had a huge fight on Facebook for 3 days, and I really feel like I won because I got the most likes. People have to start opening up their screen doors, looking to the right, looking to their left, talking to their neighbors on their porches who are barbecuing, and get back to that community that we once had in this country. Social media, a relatively new phenomenon, has really eroded the political discourse in this country.
Well, we've eroded ourselves too. I mean, there's a way to argue things without being a total jerk, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's hope we find a way to do it.
Yeah, and I think we can. All right, in the meantime...